Yeah. See, we've been being prepared for a long time, and it feels like we've been on the back burner. With other people with rising ministries or whatever, and but what we endure has never gone to waste, and the country is like in really tumultuous times right now. In fact, Bobby Connor put out something kind of recently on one of his posts on Facebook. I follow him on Facebook, and it was basically like America's in real trouble, and it's going to take a miracle of God to get us out of where we're at. Like we're in real, like he was very specific in saying like he wasn't prophesying doom. He was just trying to highlight that where we sit right now is a very serious place. He wasn't saying like there is no hope. He was actually pointing to Jesus and saying Jesus is the hope, for for America. He wasn't saying like America's going down the pot, like judgment, whatever. He's just saying like it's really what's that? Imagine. Oh, right. I mean, yeah, it would. Dude, I don't know if you've been following the news lately. I posted this thing on Facebook about this recent Senate vote, how they basically 44 of the senators voted for infanticide, where if a baby's born accidentally from a botched abortion, born alive, that they were trying to pass a bill to protect the life of that baby after they were born. And 44 of those senators voted and said they would not support something that would protect that baby. So not even to do with abortion, has to do with a botched abortion where a baby's born alive. They're basically saying leave that baby on the table to die because they should not be treated like a patient. They should not be treated like or just kill them straight out. That's basically what they're saying. Like they don't deserve the rights of of any. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's horrible, but yeah, and it's possible, and because different states have been trying to push different things in both directions, and it's one of them's going to end up in the Supreme Court, and it's an opportunity. I've heard this from different people, but it's very possible within the next 4 years that Roe versus Wade could be overturned, especially with who sits on the Supreme Court right now. If the right case came before them, they could overturn Roe versus Wade and make it. It wouldn't make abortion illegal in the country, but what it would do is probably give the power to the states to decide that if they don't want abortion to be illegal, then it would not be legal in their state, and they could stop it. But yeah, it would be amazing. It would stop all the sacrifices to demons. That is all the blood covenant. If you talk to John Sinan about it, he'll yeah ask him about abortion and um, id- idolatry and abortion and stuff like that. Like how that ties in. Because we all want to believe that we live in America where like that stuff doesn't happen. All the blood covenant stuff with demons and stuff that happens in Africa. But ask him sometime about that. He'll give you some perspective about what's going on behind the scenes in America. It's not just about women's rights and everything that they make it up to be. There's demonic powers that are being fed through it, just like in Africa to try to put people in power and stuff. But something, Olav, I want to share. I want to share just a little bit with you of something that I don't know if it might help you with your family, your kids, and whatever. But I've been like recently feeling to be more frank with our kids about certain things. Like I shared with our 7-year old and our 5-year old. I shared with them basically what abortion is and what's going what well I just shared with them like stuff that I wouldn't have thought to share with them up until this point. I just didn't want to. I wanted to let them live their kid life, and I still do. But I think that the world that they're living in, like they need to know what's going on. And I don't mean to like tell them everything that's horrendous that's going on in the world, but when it's hitting the front pages of the papers, and like it's a big deal. I'm just they're in, look, they're our kids are just as much involved in the spiritual fight that we are. And sometimes like the stuff that's affecting them, like there's more that's affecting them than just like they're getting in a scrap with their sister or brother. Like they're sensitive. They're spirit beings, Like our kids are spirit beings, and sometimes like their giftings, their aptitude or whatever towards their bent in life, however God's made them, like could make them sensitive to things that are going. It can make them sensitive to stuff that's going on in society around them, and they don't even know. They don't even know like what's. Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I didn't go into like great detail about it, but I just told them like this is the world that we live in, and they were just like, oh, this is horrible, that's so horrible, and I think, I mean, it just kind of puts things in a perspective. It's like I challenge any liberal person out there. You explain to a 5-year old what abortion is without using your pretty flowery euphemisms about what it is, like, oh, it's about women's right to choose and they can, just tell them what happens. Just tell them what happens. And every child of that age is going to think it's 100 out of 100. They're going to think it's absolutely horrible because they're taught. They know inside of their heart, they look at a baby and they're like, oh, cute little baby, and just the mere thought of somebody like taking that baby and killing it is absolutely horrendous to them, but to anybody. But a child has a conscience. They look at that and they understand this is horrible. It's just this adult language that's masked in a big lie and a big under the spell of the devil that somehow this is okay. I mean, as Christians, we see that clearly. But if you try to explain it to any 5-year old, any 7-year old, unless they've like been through like huge trauma in their life, and they're just their whole conscience is seared because they've seen so many horror movies or something like that. Every 5 and 7-year old is going to think that that's like horrible. It's an awful thing. So I didn't know what was going to happen with our girls today, but I told them about this and just look. I had them pray. I had them pray about it. Because they're already involved. They're already spiritually involved in the battle. They already are. They're with us in this world. And I'm not saying that they see everything that we see or they feel it to the effect that we feel it or they have the responsibility we have, but they're already feeling, they already sense it. They don't even know what it is, but they sense it. They just sense things aren't right in the world. And so I'm like, just be part of the battle with me. Just pray with me for these women. Pray with me for our country. Pray with me. And like I didn't go into great graphic detail about it. I didn't explain all the bloody mess of it all. I just told them this is the truth, and they prayed with me about it. And I think we have to start thinking about involving our kids in heavier stuff. You know, I without stealing their innocent and not, innocence, and without like letting them, not taking away their childhood of, just having fun and everything, like, but touching on the subjects, you know, touching on the subjects. I mean, we talk about our kids. We talk about how there's some people that believe that it's okay for men and men to marry, and that's not okay. And I'm sure you do too. But just involving them in the process because it's the world that they're living in, and I don't want them to be one day like blindsided by it because we didn't explain this is what's going on in the world that you grew up in. I so it's kind of reached a critical point for us where I felt like we needed to, just because some of the stuff they've been experiencing. I'm just like, they need some of this explained to them so that they can have some tools to fight, so they can begin to pray, so they can begin to be, yeah.